What up class, Mr. Sabs. This is a summary video on how and what you need to get your reflective project complete for the IBCP program. There are actually two things that we're going to need from you to check this box off, okay? Number one, you're going to write a maximum 3,000 word essay. What the focus of this essay is an ethical dilemma of an issue directly linked to your career-related studies, in this case, business. All right, number two, you're going to have something called an RPPF form, which is a PDF we're going to give you. And this is a form that tracks all of your reflections on your planning and progress of your reflective project. That's going to be a maximum of 1,000 words. So you got a 3,000 word essay, a 1,000 word RPPF form filled. You're supposed to be allocating about 50 hours to this. So it's not something you can do overnight, my friends. An ethical dilemma is when you have two different options, neither one may be 100% right, and there really is no perfect solution. So you're going to identify a dilemma where there are two different sides to a story, two different arguments, and in the end, you're going to make an evaluation on which side you support and why. And this is all going to be based off of your own reflections as well as research from external parties. There's a few steps that you need to do then to complete this. You need to identify an issue. Then you need to decide on an ethical dilemma that arises from that issue. You need to show an awareness of the ethical dilemma. You need to identify key communities or stakeholders involved in the dilemma. You need to examine different viewpoints. Then you have to develop a personal and relevant evaluation of the ethical dilemma. So this is now where you're putting your own judgments and your own input. The suggested format of this essay is to have a title page, a table of contents. You have to have a section on identifying an issue, a section on the ethical dilemma, where you spell it out. Then you need to have the research, okay? So any literature review, any other studies that you found that talk about this dilemma, maybe in other countries, in other contexts, in other businesses. Then you need to have the evaluation, all right? That's your input and your final judgment in the end. It's kind of like a conclusion. Finally, you're going to have references. So all of those resources, and you need to be having peer-reviewed, legitimate resources, and you need to create a bibliography or reference page for these. Boom, we're flying through this. I love it. Let's get a couple of examples just to get those brain juices flowing. Fracking for shale gas. This is something that's actually quite relevant to our region because we're located in the UAE, baby. Should government grant fracking licenses to companies in order for them to make potentially high profits? There's a lot of controversy between fracking because environmentalists believe that it's hurting the environment and fracking should not be allowed. Businesses want fracking to be allowed so that they can extract this additional energy, sell it, make more money, provide people with the energy they need to run their businesses and contribute to economies, get jobs for people. So there are definitely two sides to this story. Do you go with the environment and look at the long-term sustainability of people, or do you go with the economic side, how it's being marked? There are actually 5 marking criterion. Criterion A is focus and method. B is knowledge and understanding in context. C, critical thinking. D, communication. E, engagement and reflection. I'm going to be attaching the marking criteria in detail for you to look over. Let's now talk about the RPPF. So the RPPF stands for Reflections on Planning and Progress Form. Now this is going to be an actual PDF that you have to fill out. There's an actual format. You're going to be meeting 3 times with an advisor. You're going to have an initial meeting where you're going to be talking about your issue, your ethical dilemma. This is going to be before you've actually written it. You're going to have one meeting during the research portion when you're starting to write it, and then one final meeting at the end where it talks about your final product and any improvements that you might need to make. What you're going to include in this form are going to be some of your initial ideas, any concerns that you've discussed with your supervisor, for example, like access to data, if it's a very controversial issue, if there's any local or cultural sensitivities. The outcome of the discussions with your supervisor are going to be included in the form. Any interim thoughts you have about the project, the planning, the progress, the content, anything going through your mind, you're going to be capturing in these forms. And then you're going to also document any changes that are going to need to be made as a result of your meetings. So that's pretty much it. Now class, bear in mind that the reflective project is externally assessed, so it's going to be sent off to the IBCP people for marking. Also, The higher you get on the reflective project, the more tariff points you get. So it gets you into a better university with UCAS, all right? Take it seriously, guys. So you really need to urgently start thinking about your issue and the ethical dilemma that surrounds that issue. I recommend picking at least 3 of them before the first meeting with your supervisor. Good luck, IBCPers! Ho!